Hey, good morning, Metropolis. It's now 5 after the hour of 6 a.m. in the big monster city.
Come on! Let's get pumped!
I'm not drinking any fucking Merlot! What can I say? The camera loves me.
Shall we begin? After you, Junior.
Sup? Welcome to another episode of Logged It, the only show on Twitch where tonight we're
just end it there. The only show on Twitch.
The only show on Twitch where we're going to talk about a 90-year-old man who rides horses and punches people in the face. Welcome to Logged It.
Alan
It's episode
Coolidge.
17. We got a full panel here tonight. We started with just me and Boatman, and somehow we dragged people in to talk about an old man. One of them being Cody Newberry. Cody, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really passionate about this. Man, not really. You said, hey, can you please be on the show? So sure, I can talk about two movies. I wish the scene, like the thing where he yells at the chair, so like a political thing, but I wish it was like an hour and 30 minutes and counted as feature length, because that's the best Clint Eastwood performance to this day.
That was going to be my first pick as a joke.
But other than that, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk about films.
Dope. Boatman, you're here as always. How are you?
I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling lucky, punk. References. You see, like the thing that he says in that movie. But no, I think that
Jordy hasn't seen it.
That's true. I haven't even seen it. But I think Eastwood is honestly just so impressive because of how long he's been working. Like, there are very few people that like started acting in like acting in the 60s, directing in the 70s. They're like still consistently putting out movies like every 2 years. Like, good for him, especially like at his age. That's cool.
I'm not gonna lie. Up until this point, I thought we were talking about Scott Eastwood, but I realized now. Payson, welcome. How are you?
Doing good. Got to lead a Suicide Squad and Fury from my list of picks that I was thinking about making. But no, I'm doing good. It's always fun being on a panel with you guys. I think this is my first time being on a panel with Matt. I've been on a show with Mac before, but never Matt. So
my apologies, Matt.
The last time I saw Matt, it wasn't even Matt. It was like a version of Matt with a top hat. But now, Matt, you're back. Welcome. How are you?
Doing good. This is a really interesting topic. If anything, I've learned that there's a bunch of Clint Eastwood movies that I actually want to check out now. But I think there might be a couple we can talk about tonight.
Sounds good. Well, we're going to get started the way we always do. We're going to talk about our favorite movie that we logged this week. Cody, we're going to start off with you. What was your favorite movie that you logged this week?
Normally you're the attention whore, so I really like when I get to go first. So I have to cheat, basically. I haven't watched a lot of movies. I've just transitioned to a job, and I'm very busy. So I went back a few, because my last movies were YLS, and I already talked about how I felt about them on YLS, so I went a little bit further. So my favorite film that I logged this week, a movie that I revisited about 2 weeks ago, Best Picture winner, won 11 Oscars, Titanic.
Oh,
it may have not won 11. I'm not sure, but
it won 11.
I thought you were going to say Return of the King, but that's
I was really hoping for Ben-Hur.
This movie gets like really weird like crap. I think the movie's great, honestly. I think it actually, the romance actually works in it. I think the characters throughout it, and I think the last hour, like, I could not imagine setting sail and being on that ship that night at all. And it basically turns into a romance kind of adventure film to a horror film, real flipping quick. Like, yeah, I just Billy Zane in this movie. Every time he gets angry, it's probably my favorite part of the entire film. Rose. Like he's like he goes through puberty like 6 times in this movie with the voice cracks. But overall, Titanic. Stop hating it because it made a lot of money at the box office, and you wanted like comic book movies to pass it, I guess, because that's why Avatar gets a lot of crap too, even though that's not a very good movie.
This movie is really good. I haven't seen it in probably 4 years or so. Maggie and I watched it together. I think it was in 2017. That was the last time I watched it. But it's an excellent, excellent movie. I've always really liked it. I didn't see it until like obviously way later, but I got to see it in the theater when it was re-released, and I thought that was like an incredible experience.
Did they put it out in 3D?
It was in
so
3D.
Weird.
I saw it in IMAX 3D, and it was really cool. It was cool seeing it in the theater. No, I think this movie's great. I want to revisit it. It's just been a long time. So
and the old people cuddle in bed when the water comes in.
Yeah, fucking kill
heartbreaking.
me. Fucking kill me.
Heartbreaking.
It's depressing, but I think the movie's really, really good. And I mean, people know me. I enjoy movies that are 3+ hours that won 11 Oscars because I love Ben-Hur, I love Return of the King, and I love this movie. So, Boatman, what's your take on Titanic?
I've never understood the outright hate for Titanic. I'll be honest, I've only seen it once, but I really liked it the first time I saw it. I think that like the romance is legitimately well done, which I actually think is like kind of hard to do, but they actually like make you care for these two people. I think the person who I think is really fun in this movie is Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates is really great in this film. Actually, like she brings a lot of levity, but also like her interactions with DiCaprio are actually really charming. Overall, yeah, I've never really understood the hate for Titanic. I'll be honest, in terms of the 3 hour plus 11 Oscar winning movies that won Best Picture, my favorite is Titanic. It's my favorite of the three. I think it's a really well done movie.
Payson.
So, funny story about Titanic. I don't think I've ever seen it like in full, like from start to finish. I think ever. Like my experience of watching it is in 30 to 45 minute chunks on AMC when my mom goes to sleep and falls asleep with it playing. But yeah, from what I've seen, I've seen essentially the majority of it, and I still really enjoy it. It's a big cheesy is it cheesy? Yes, but it's also like you got to appreciate the scope of the movie.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm confused as well.
Like, do you guys like sit down on it at AMC and watch it together, and then you turn around and she's passed out? I'm like, oh, well, we'll catch it again next time when it comes back on and turn it off.
The TV channel AMC.
I know, but like when she falls asleep, do you like, oh, we'll catch it together next time when you actually can stay awake, or like do you just walk in on it and then sit down for 45 minutes?
I'll kind of just walk in and I'll just be like, oh, it's on. I may as well just watch it. I don't want to change it because she might wake up, and then yeah.
I didn't know how movie nights work in your house. I was just curious. That's fine.
That's fair. Thank you, Cody.
Matt, what about you?
I actually remember back when this came out. I remember all the hoopla going around all the teenage girls going to see it nonstop, and I think that's where a lot of the hate from it came from. I don't know how or why. I mean, I think the first time and probably the only time I actually watched the whole thing was on a plane, so it definitely I enjoyed it. Kept my attention during the whole flight. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna read a review of somebody who logged this on Letterboxd. I want you guys to tell me from the community who we think wrote this review. It is a 1.5 star review.
Chance Ellison.
All right, I'm gonna go next.
He hates Leonardo DiCaprio. Hates him. Thinks he's awful. Thinks he's a terrible actor. It's an actual quote from the man.
Well, Chance, you're also a terrible actor. Let's shut the fuck up. You're next.
Crap with the Cobra.
We've all watched the roast of Caleb Coho. Let's be honest.
All right, so I'll go with my first pick or my pick for this. Did a lot of trivia studying the last couple weeks. I watched a lot of James Bond, so that was really bad. But I did get to watch one movie throughout all of the crap I was watching that I very much enjoyed. It's not a James Bond movie. It's one that kind of snuck through in my studying schedule, and it's a spy film nonetheless. But it's just such a good fucking movie. Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. This is the 5th film in the Mission Impossible series. It might just be my favorite. I think that this movie is absolutely awesome. The action set pieces in this thing are incredible. I think this movie, Christopher McQuarrie just like understands what makes a Mission Impossible movie fun, because Fallout is also incredible. I think Fallout just suffers from being like 15 minutes too long. I think this movie stays exactly how long it's supposed to. The car chase in Morocco. No, not Morocco. Casablanca. Is that in Morocco? I don't fucking know.
Yes.
So I was right. Morocco. The car chase that turns into the motorcycle chase is like incredible, especially when you like, I mean, we've talked about it 1,000 times with Tom Cruise doing his own stunts, and they always like leave in like the shots of him like hurting himself. And there's a shot in this where he's riding the motorcycle and he leans too far down and his knee skids the road. And when he's going like 120 miles per hour on this motorcycle and the thing flips up, it's just so badass. The whole breathing underwater thing to put the chip in is so fucking cool. Like the whole movie is just really, really cool. And the performances are actually really good too. I think this is the best that a lot of the characters are in this one. So I think this one's my favorite. I go back and forth between this and Fallout a lot, but yeah, this one, I could watch this one over and over again. I think it's so fun. Oh, and Rebecca Ferguson. Like, come on, she's fucking great in this. Cody.
Yeah, this is my favorite Mission Impossible. It's close between that and Fallout. But yeah, they just keep getting better, and that's something that doesn't normally happen with franchises. Like, I think from 3 on, like all of them are just been one step. Ghost Protocol falls a little bit because it gets a little too wacky, but yeah, Tom Cruise is a nutbag. There's no way around it. He is not insured by anybody, guaranteed. No one will ever take up that life insurance. But yeah, this one has so many cool elements to it. The breathing thing always, like, yeah, he's nuts. He's gonna die on set. I'm going to be honest. We're going to get a call that he dies on set because he's going to. There's no other way around it. It would be a waste of his life if he died in his sleep. I'm going to be honest with you. So he'll be hanging off something.
Yeah, you heard it here from Cody. We at Multiplex are going to get a call from Paramount, the filmmakers. Guys, Tom Cruise has passed.
We made a deal with the Church of Scientology. We're going to get Tom Cruise.
Shut up. You know what I meant. We're going to see it on a page, and then we're going to talk about it on the show. Yes, he's going to die on set somewhere. It just happened.
Boatman, do you like this movie?
Oh, yeah. No, Rogue Nation is great. Fallout is my personal favorite, but I love the Mission Impossible franchise. I don't even hate 2. 2 is easily the worst, but I don't hate 2. I really like 1. I really like 3. I really like Ghost Protocol. I really like Rogue Nation. Fallout's my favorite, but Rogue Nation it might be the most like heisty of all of them. Like it's between that and 1, and I loved heist movies. Like the underwater sequence is really cool. I like the opening sequence with the plane. I love the little spy element with the back and forth in the record store. That is just a really cool little moment. And the way Ethan just kind of outwits Solomon Lane towards the end is really cool.
Yeah, Payson, what about you?
No, I love this one. I think I probably prefer Fallout just a little bit more, but this is a very, very close second. I think the set pieces of this one are awesome. This is the one with the opera house scene, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Really great scene. Yeah.
I love that scene. I love how that one is shot. I think Solomon Lane is one of the better villains of the franchise, in my opinion. I don't think I'm going too out of step in saying that. But no, I think this franchise is excellent. I think it has a lot of momentum, and I think this is a really good installment in that.
Matt, what about you?
This I didn't really love this one when I first saw it, but each viewing I've had for it since then, I've kind of liked it more and more and more. I like Fallout a lot more, But I know I'm probably in the minority, which I'm kind of disappointed that Christopher McQuarrie is doing. The next two movies, I kind of liked it more when it was kind of they were doing new directors each time and kind of letting put their different spin on it. But yeah, this one's it's definitely improved with each viewing for me. So yeah.
Cool. All right, Boatman, we'll go to you next.
This is a movie I'm pretty sure has been brought up on this show before, but I finally got around to it. I'm going with Coda. I only vaguely knew what Coda was, and I honestly recommend going in with only a vague understanding of what the movie is about, because the movie is really charming, and it's a very well done movie. It balances the drama of the situation with some of the funniest moments you will see in a movie this year. Like, there are some laugh out loud moments in this movie that I did not expect that from this movie. Marlee Matlin is incredible. I actually double featured this with Children of a Lesser God, the movie she won the Oscar for, and she's great in both of them. I kind of hope that she starts like getting the Peter Dinklage treatment, where she gets roles where the fact that she's deaf is just inconsequential to the character. Like, because like you look at something like The West Wing, that's what Joey Lucas is, and she kills it in that. And I want that, but in movie. And the whole cast is fantastic. I want to say the lead actress is her name's Amelia something. I want to say Amelia Rose. I'm not
Jones.
Amelia Jones. That's what it is. The character is Ruby Rose, but Amelia Jones is the name of the actress, and she was really good. There's a scene towards the end where she sings, and it's an incredible scene. The actor who plays her father, who is also deaf, Troy Coaster, he is also fantastic in the movie and has some of the funniest, but also like most heartbreaking. The movie is just incredible. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think Payson brought this up a few weeks ago. I want to see it. That's what I said then. That's what I'll say now. It's in the watch list. Cody?
I've never even heard of this film. So I will add it to my watch list. I guess it's on Apple TV. Is that true?
Yep.
I guess I'll take advantage of that free year that I've gotten for that for like the last 2 years. So
Yeah,
check it out.
Payson, you talked about it before.
I talked about it last week. Really great movie.
Was that last week?
No. What?
I was going to say, oh my God, my fucking life. Matt, have you seen it?
Not yet. No, this is one I'm really looking forward to watching, but I haven't had the chance yet.
All right. Payson, what's your pick for a favorite movie?
So, like you, I've been doing some studying for trivia, and one of the best movies I've seen, maybe in terms of studying for trivia at this point, is Stanley Kubrick's The Killing. This was one of the final Stanley Kubrick movies I had never seen before in my life, and I absolutely loved it. In case anyone doesn't know, this is about a group of criminals who decide they're going to pull off a heist and try to steal money from this racetrack. And just all the little intricacies, all the little like setup scenes and going into the heist are super, super well done. It's a super short movie. It's like an hour and 25 minutes. It just breezes right by. It has a really cool the voiceover narration of it, how it will literally tell you like what's going on in the heist, of being like at 8:40 a.m. this character showed up at this point, but 40 minutes earlier than that this character was walking out at this point. So like you completely have like a really great grasp of everything that's going on. I think the set off the payoff to the ultimate heist is excellent and perfect, and it's the perfect amount of comeuppance that you want to see from something like this. And for years, I'd say Ocean's 11 has been my second favorite heist movie, but this one could definitely like nudge at that placement.
What's your favorite?
Heat is my favorite heist movie, but The Killing is so good, and I could not recommend it enough.
Yeah, Cody's about to make me do a shot, but yeah, I got this one on Criterion, and
Nice.
Really, really, usually if I bring up 4K or Criterion or I saw something in the theater, do a shot. Anyway, so
awesome. Show off that collection. Let's go.
Yeah, this movie's great. I bought I got in the very big like Kubrick phase a couple years ago. And I bought all his movies and watched all of them. This was the first one I watched, and I loved it. I thought the ending was really, like, the last 15 minutes of this movie are wild. It's really, really good. I like heist movies as well, so I think this one was really excellent. I haven't revisited it in a long time since then, but I'd like to. Cody's review, which I just liked via the Letterboxd.
Don't steal it.
I'm not going to. I'm just saying. Cody, Boatman or Cody, go ahead. Your thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, that dog would be dead. I'll be honest with you. That dog would be effing dead, and there's no question about it. I'd be going to jail for something else. This movie is great. This movie from start to finish. For me to care, like, it tells me everything I need to know in such a short runtime, but like, doesn't like beat me over the head with like crazy exposition that's like, oh well, this like, it just lets the story play out and how it works. The heist movie is really great. Yeah, it needs more watches for me to like climb up my heist list. Like Ocean's 11 and Heat, like movies like that I've seen so many times, so it's hard to like pass right now. But yeah, it's a fantastic film, and I'm kind of hit or miss on Kubrick, to be honest with you. Like, there are stuff that I shouldn't like that I do like Eyes Wide Shut, and there's movies like Clockwork Orange that I will never watch again in my entire life. So,
but you love 2001, right?
Look at that review. I think it's 3 stars.
I love Orange, but it just doesn't seem like a Cody movie, so that's why I was shaking my head.
You Clockwork Orange and you makes a little bit more sense. I saw that picture with you and Rachel. Yeah, it's a great movie. Great choice.
Boatman?
The Killing is my favorite Kubrick movie. It's just such a breeze of a movie while still being so tense. Like, that is one of the easiest watches, like, partially because of the runtime, but partially because there's not like a moment wasted. It is just the perfect runtime to tell that story. And I could talk about just how great this movie is. I'm going to use my time to rant about the people on Twitter who are complaining that Venom 2 is 90 minutes long. They gave you a gift, a 90-minute long movie, and you are complaining. No, there are The Killing, 12 Angry Men that are 90 minutes long. What is your problem? The Killing is a great movie. Has one of my favorite endings of a movie of all time. And I love the sequence where you see it from like the 3 different perspectives. That's awesome. And Tarantino rips that in Jackie Brown. It's my favorite thing in Jackie Brown.
This motherfucker spitting, let me just tell you.
When a movie says "Let there be carnage" and the carnage only lasts 90 minutes, that's upsetting for some people, and you have to understand that like 12 Angry Men, if that movie was 2.5 hours, what the hell are we doing? Doing an actual court case here? Moving on. When there's action on screen, they want to see ripping into things. Jeez.
Some people just want that 4-hour Venom epic.
Yeah, Zack Snyder coming out soon.
Matt, what is your take on The Killing?
Oh, I really like it. I don't love it as much as a lot of people in the community, but I really like that. It's a really just a tight movie, and you can really see how it's influenced a lot of the movie since it. So yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I did realize while Boatman was ranting that right next to me was the K section of my Blu-ray. So here is my Criterion Collection Blu-ray of The Killing. It also comes with Killer's Kiss, the movie that he made before this movie, which is not that good. So there you go. Matt, your favorite movie you logged this week?
One of my favorite things is just showing my wife movies that she hasn't seen. So we had a lazy Sunday this past week, and I was like, let's watch Spotlight. But yeah,
hey babe, you want to cuddle up and watch Spotlight?
Oh, the Catholic Church.
They knew.
But yeah, I mean, the whole cast is just outstanding in this movie. I love it. It's once again, it feels so tight. I love the investigation aspect of it. It had a really, I forgot there was a 9/11 tie-in involved with it, so that was interesting timing. But yeah, and then by the time we got to the end of it, I think we were both just pretty much sitting there crying as they were just listing the places off at the end. So it's just But yeah, it's a fantastic film. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, Spotlight climbs on my list of favorite movies of 2015 and just in general. It was in my top 10 that year. I that was also one of those movies where like I saw it by myself and then it like had left theaters, but then like came back around the time of the Oscars to like give it the push again. And I remember being, it must have been like a Saturday or a Sunday night. I was like, hey, babe, let's go see Spotlight. And me and Maggie at like the 4 p.m. matinee are like seeing Spotlight together, and very similar situation. But yeah, the movie's incredible. We talked about it. I think it was during a match we recorded yesterday about Mark Rylance winning the Oscar for Bridge of Spies that year. And I really wanted Mark Ruffalo to win. I think he's so good in this movie. Everybody's great, though. Michael Keaton. I think Billy Crudup is really underrated. He's not in the movie a lot, but I'm actually a big Billy Crudup fan. I think he's great in everything, and he's so underrated. And
mom is watching this, and she just clipped that out and sent it to us.
Great. But I thought he was great in this, too. I like it when he pops up and stuff. But yeah, the whole cast, Rachel McAdams, I can't think of the other guy.
John Slattery.
Yes. No, not John Slattery. The other.
Liev Schreiber?
No,
the other reporter in the
Brian Darcy James.
Yes. He's very good as well. So yeah, the movie's excellent. I think it deserved to win Best Picture. It wasn't my choice to win, but I think it absolutely deserved it. Cody, I know you hate this movie.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. It's the one of the movies that I have to tell myself, no, you can't go rewatch Spotlight right now, because I had so I'd say about 2 years ago, I said this movie is great. It's not rewatchable at all. It stays in that shelf of hard to watch, never go back, don't watch it again. The time I rewatched it, this movie is so rewatchable. It's kind of scary how rewatchable it is for me, because I just love procedurals. I love like the hunt down of the story and find the truths, and like when they're going around to all the priests and they're talking to them, and like there's other movies that tackled like how Massachusetts and the Catholic Church was basically the mob back then. They would just take you and put you somewhere else, and take you and put you somewhere else, and no one knew. And that was the way to just keep it going. So when it won Best Picture, I was like, really? That's what we chose for Best Picture? Like, that was weird. Now, looking back, 100% knockdown, won Best Picture. I am totally okay with winning Best Picture now. At the time, probably not. Ruffalo losing the Oscar makes me so mad still to this day. I think he's absolutely incredible. But I think most of the actors in this movie are giving career performances inside this movie that they haven't ever done. I think Rachel McAdams is fantastic in this film. I think Stanley Tucci as the lawyer, when she's like, "I'll talk to you when I can talk." I'm not talking to you. Like, he just pretty shortcut. But that scene where it's like they knew they did it to kids and they got away with it. It could have been you. It could have been me. I was like, would it help? Win the Oscar over that? I just don't know how you watch either two scenes together and you don't give it to the win. It's just so weird to me. But yeah, now that you brought that up, I think I gotta watch.
I was about to say, I say this a lot. People bring up movies on this show, and I say, you know what? I think I'm gonna watch that. I think I'm actually gonna watch this movie tonight because, hey, I'm not studying any. I've finished, so like I think I'm gonna watch Spotlight.
I think I'm gonna watch Spotlight as well. Great choice.
Next group watch.
It's so good.
It really is. It's great. Boatman, what do you think about Spotlight?
Oh yeah, Spotlight's really good. I've only seen it twice, and I liked it more on rewatch than I did on first watch. I don't love it like you guys do, but I think it's a really good movie. And I think my favorite performance in the movie, even though I really like Ruffalo, is Liev Schreiber. I think Liev Schreiber is doing something really interesting in that movie, where he is basically he seems to really be the one to have like this biggest vendetta, and he plays that pain, but he doesn't play it on the surface. It's all very much under the surface, but it's very much like you need to go after it. Like, you can tell there is so much behind what he is saying. He's my favorite thing in the movie, but I also Tucci really is able to blend this line where there's always something a little bit funny about everything Tucci says, but there's always something a little bit heartbreaking about everything Tucci says. That is what it's. I think Tucci is like one of our most underrated, underappreciated character actors we have. Like, I love Tucci, and I wish he like got more of like. I want him to get like another Oscar push because I think he really does deserve it.
On the Tucci note, while I'm thinking of it, and before we get to Payson, if you haven't seen, it's a very, very small movie. It came out this year. It's called Supernova. It's Tucci and Colin Firth as a couple, and Tucci is sick, and they're dealing with that, and that's all I'm gonna say. If you haven't seen it, it's like 90 minutes. It's really short. Go find it. It's streaming somewhere. It has to be. I saw it in the theater, but it's got to be streaming somewhere by now because that was in like February. So just while you were talking about Tucci, that made me think of that. So Payson, Spotlight, what do you think?
Yeah, just added Supernova to my watch list. But Spotlight. I think if you can make a journalism movie like really, really good, it always has a chance to be a super watchable and super interesting film, just like this one. I think I'm kind of in the same boat as Boatman, though, where I like it. I don't love it as much as these two, but like you guys said, it's a very good movie. Before I do move on, I just want to say a funny yet slightly uncomfortable moment when I saw this movie in theaters. At the end, when they are showing the lists of all the cities that this happened in, the person right next to me, it took a couple like screens to get to Phoenix, Arizona. But the person right next to me, when they said, they were like, "Oh man, Phoenix too." It's like, okay. And I was like, and then so that's what I remember from that show.
The rest is fine, but it have to be us.
Damn it, Phoenix. I'm just doing this again because now I'm all hyped up on Coca-Cola and rum. I even pulled it off the shelf, so now I am going to watch it. I'm setting it here for the rest of the show.
Supernova is on Hulu, just to let everybody know.
For free.
Supernova.
It's streaming on Hulu.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm doing it. I'm watching it tonight. Okay. So now we are going to move on to our least favorite movie that we logged this week. Cody, what you got for us?
Okay, so I got two. I'm gonna make one really short because I talked about it on my list, but it needs to just be brought up for the pain that I had to go through. One is 2011 Footloose. A person that competes in trivia and has competed in places. Now, I will say this: the first one, the first Footloose, is nothing special. Like, it's not a great film. Like Peter Quill, I'm sorry, it's not great. It never was. But this one is like takes everything from the original and just like countrifies it and spits all over it and puts Julianne Hough in it. So one, Cameron Holtzman, you should feel bad for yourself. Like I really think I hope you never win the title. I'm gonna be honest with you because of this. Until you switch and not change your taste like Bandslam in this, I hope you never win a title. You don't deserve one with those tastes. The one I'm actually going to talk about, I haven't talked about it on the show before. It's a movie that maybe if it was a live action sports movie, it would be a little bit better. It's Chicken Little. So it's not Cars, it's Chicken Little, though. It's Chicken Little, okay? So I've said this before. If you don't have kids, don't have them. But they'll make you watch some stuff that is just terrible. My son, I let him pick. He's like, that one, and pointed to it. And it was right next to Lilo and Stitch and right next to Lion King. Oh. And I was like, oh, this one? He's like, no. Oh, this one? No. Oh, the one. Okay, cool. This movie is just awful. This movie is awful. I think the animation's bad. I will say the song, not bad.
Little slip.
But the rest of the movie, like the whole thing to get this to this point, and like the movie's too long. This movie's just. This is when Disney. I'm pretty sure if you look back, they were like boxing up and going to sell at some point because they just didn't know how to make a good movie hardly at all at that point in time. And then they found the magic again, so it's nice. But this movie's trash.
I don't hate this movie, but it's not good. We talked about it last week, I think, because I think Coho brought it up as like his favorite. Was it you? You brought it up as your favorite?
You're muted, buddy.
I brought it up as my least favorite.
Oh, but you still liked it. That's right.
I still like it.
So yeah, no, I don't hate the movie. The animation is awful. It's honestly kind of boring to me. I don't think it's an abomination like Cody's making it out to be, but I don't think it's good. Although I'm
also 4 years older than you.
Using the Multiplex Logged It account, as I do, I go through and I like them, or I click on the watched on the movies that we talk about and everything. So I went to Chicken Little, looked at the reviews of people that we follow on the page. There is a review from Mr. Caleb Coho that has this movie at 3.5 stars, and the review simply states better than Magnolia. So I commented on the review and I said, "You're fired."
I would actually agree with that.
Okay.
It is better than Magnolia.
That is insane.
You know why? No.
Tim, thank you.
No,
Thank you.
I'll help you out. I'll help you out. This one I could watch this movie twice as the runtime to get through that trash that is Magnolia. So
the frogs, Cody.
Cody, I could get kicked in the balls.
Did you know Abby Mallard? Did you know fish in a bowl?
Fish out of water.
Fish out of water is the fish? No way.
That is a famous Caleb Coho quote for anybody who doesn't know. Hey, did you know that fish? I can't even. Boatman, you talked about it last week. Is there anything you want to add?
I think that this movie has some legitimately clever writing that is bogged down with some awful animation, but like Prepare to Hurt, but not emotionally like I do, is something I quote out of context like all the time. I think Joan Cusack is just one of the most consistently funny people of all time. Like, I think she has never not gotten a laugh out of me. Like, she's great in everything, even awful movies. There's a reason, like, a role like her in and out. In and Out on paper, that's like a toss-away role. She turned that into an Oscar-nominated performance just by being hysterical in that movie. She is very funny as Abby Mallard. Abby Mallard is actually my favorite thing in the movie. But overall, like, I get it. I'm never going to say anyone who thinks this movie is bad is crazy for thinking it's bad. That Bare Naked Lady song rocks, though.
Payson, Chicken Little.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in like 15 years, but I didn't like it as a kid. I'm sure I wouldn't like it now. It seems ugly. It seems like it has dumb, modern, mid-2000s humor that I just don't like in The Cat in the Hat. But yeah, I don't want to.
I'll make
Dirty
it look like a
Ho.
bloody accident.
Not a good movie. Not.
Sorry, baby.
Make it look like a bloody accident.
I will also
I'm not
take
saying we're
blame-
going to sue. I'm just saying we have a case.
I will also take blame over what Coho said about Magnolia, because Coho kind of has like a Napoleonic complex with movies, where like if you say you like a movie that he doesn't like, he'll like hardcore get mad and like try to overcompensate how much he hates it. So yeah.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah.
Matt, Chicken Little. I know it's a favorite in your house.
I'm pretty sure I watched this with my nieces when it came out on DVD way back when. I don't think it made much of an impression. I didn't kill myself, so it couldn't have been that bad.
He's still with us.
Fair. All right. So I'll go next. Like I said, I talked last week. I picked a Bond movie as my worst. I could easily do that again, but I think what I'll do instead is I'll pick something new or newer that I watched for trivia that I didn't. It's not good. It's the new Spirit movie, Spirit Untamed. It's not good, guys. I can't. I know you're shocked. Trust me. I know you're surprised. But yeah, it's pretty bad. It's better than the first one, but that doesn't say a lot. It's weird because the animation is barely better than Chicken Little, and this movie came out this year. And Jake Gyllenhaal is in this movie, phoning it the fuck in. Literally, I think he recorded his stuff over the phone. It's absolutely terrible. this is just a god awful movie. Me and Nick were messaging about it as we were studying it this week, and yeah, my lord, it's not a good time. But you know, Nick, my favorite thing that Nick says is Spirit Untamed, huh? Wasn't that like the whole thing in the first one, that he was getting tamed and then untamed again? So it's very confusing. But yeah, Cody, I guarantee you haven't seen this. You're muted.
Did they bring back Ryan Adams' soundtrack in this one?
They did not, but we
So
get
that's just
one song is repeated like 18 times throughout the whole movie, though.
That is just a waste, then, because that was what made the first one so special to me. That's why I give it like 3 stars. For second one, I didn't even know this was coming out. I think we were in Milwaukee together, and we went to go see In the Heights, and it was like playing in the theater.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What is this?" I thought this was straight to like, and it came out, and you saw it, and Nick saw it, and I'm proud of you guys. But
I've seen it twice.
I'm done with fandom. There's no way. This is like Tom and Jerry. I'm hiding this from my kids. They will not know it exists until like 30 and be like, "What is this?"
Cody hates Tom and Jerry.
It's much better than Tom and Jerry. I will say that. It's much better than Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry is the worst movie of the year so far. So.
Oh, we're talking about the movie, not the cartoon characters.
I'll show the cartoon any day. The movie is not happening.
I was like, I love Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, that's like comedic genius.
Yes, 2021's Tom and Jerry.
Oh,
I know. Boatman, Spirit Untamed. Will you watch it, or will you say, Tim and Tuig probably won't write a question about it?
If Albert asks me to watch the movie, I will watch the movie. That is the situation there. It doesn't have Bryan Adams. Here's the thing I will say about Spirit Untamed. This movie isn't made for you. It isn't made for me. It isn't made for anyone here on this call. You know who it's made for? It's made for horse girls. You know what? If they want to make a movie for horse girls, sure.
It's weird because the cast is really good. Like, you've got Isabella Merced, who's pretty good, and then surrounding her, you have McKenna Grace, Jake Gyllenhaal, Julianne Moore, the dude from Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Andre Braugher?
Yes, who's Walton Goggins. All these people are in this movie, and it's like, this is a great cast, and it's just shit. Payson, will you ever watch this?
The closest I ever saw I've come to watching this movie is when I went to go see Spiral, and they accidentally showed Spirit, the sequel to Spirit, instead of Spiral, and it took me like 30 seconds to realize, wait, this isn't Spiral, and then I walked out to go and let the manager know.
The DreamWorks logo at the beginning didn't cue you in?
Yeah, no, I kind of had a hint with like the trailers that were showing. I'm like, this is Spiral, but okay. And then the second I saw a horse, I was like, this isn't Spiral. And then
I just really hope that at the same time, the Spirit Untamed showing was accidentally showing Spiral. Mommy, why did that guy get cut in half?
Yeah, the first 3 minutes of Spiral.
I chopping off his tongue.
Spiral.
He was really untamed.
What are you talking about, Tim?
I will end you, Payson Johnson.
Sorry, Tim Barkala.
Matt Quaylar, Spirit Untamed.
The first one still hasn't worked its way at my watch list yet, so I haven't seen it yet.
Maybe you should double feature it.
I'll wait for the Criterion double feature.
There you go. Perfect.
Maybe your wife can show you movies that you missed and show you Spirit.
I guarantee Spirit would probably be one of them.
All right. Boatman, what's your least favorite movie you logged this week?
Okay. Well, the problem is, in terms of what I've actually logged, I haven't logged anything anything below 4 stars. And I don't want to crap on What About Bob or They Shoot Horses, Don't They?
Go back.
Those are really good movies. Problem is I don't really going back. So here's what I'm gonna do. Cameron Holtzman, here's a free thing for you. You get to know I watched Mamma Mia. You get to know that I watched Mamma Mia because
There we go again.
Oh,
Cody,
you haven't logged it yet because.
Fine, I will log it right now, and then it's the worst thing I logged this week.
I understand what's happening. Anyway, talk about it.
Mamma Mia. Imagine your aunt got drunk at Thanksgiving and decided she just wanted to write a screenplay. That's what this movie feels like. It is one of the most obnoxious, insufferable movies I have ever seen. I absolutely despise. I've heard the sequel's better. I'll give the sequel a shot, but the original Mamma Mia is like so insufferable. There's so much squeeing in this movie. Just characters going. It is. Pierce Brosnan can't sing. Meryl Streep can't sing. I don't mind ABBA's music, but this has to be the worst possible version of ABBA's music. The movie sort of has a plot, but then there are so many moments where the music has nothing to do with what is actually happening. They're trying so hard to fit the songs into the plot. The plot really makes no sense. The characters have no real personality. The only reason this movie isn't a half star is because I actually think Stellan Skarsgård is kind of good in it.
He's great.
He's like the one thing I like in the movie. Everything else is awful. This movie is obnoxious. I'm sorry. Mamma Mia sucks.
Yeah, this movie's really bad. I had never seen it until the second one was coming out. Me and Maggie watched it because we were going to go see the new one. And she had seen it before. She loves it. I absolutely hated it. I had a miserable time watching this movie, and now I own it on Blu-ray. But the sequel, I will say, I actually had a good time with the sequel. It's mostly because Lily James is a goddess. We must protect her at all costs. Please protect her with whatever we can. Yep, there she is up on the Baby Driver. So yeah, she saves that movie. But the second one is actually decent. But yeah, that first Mamma Mia movie is oof. Cody, what do you think?
So the first one, Boatman just got on call with me I think a couple days ago, and he goes, "You know what movie sucks?" And I didn't have my AirPods in, and my wife was sitting over there. It's Mamma Mia, and she's like, "Well, you're not allowed to hang out with these people anymore. We're not accepting negativity in our lives." So I'm not a big fan of the first one. I think the first one's pretty bad. The second one, so the first time I watched it, the song Waterloo came on in the theater, and I literally looked at my wife and said, "Can I go?" And she said, "Yeah." So I left her at the theater. She watched
No, you did not.
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. I picked her back up.
You didn't just go watch Incredibles 2 or something.
I thought about it, but I was spent. I was spent. I've seen it since. It's not as bad, but again, I just don't think either one of the Mamma Mias are great. But my wife loves them.
Payson, what about you?
Yeah, I used to go to community college with this one girl who was awful. I'm not going to name names, but she liked 5 movies that came out after the year of 1959, and this was one of them, and would not stop singing songs from this movie. And so, yeah, fuck her, fuck this movie. Haven't seen it, but
that was very aggressive. Matt Quaylar.
Just like Spirit, I don't think this film was made for anyone here. The people that it was made for, it sounds like they really enjoyed it. So,
all right. We're going to move over to Payson, your least favorite movie you logged this week.
Yeah, so I was a little strapped for content coming into this. I was like, oh no, I don't have too many bad movies I saw. Then last night I watched the remake of Psycho, the 1998 remake.
The shot-for-shot?
Yeah, shot-for-shot remake with Vince Vaughn, Anne Heche, Julianne Moore.
From the acclaimed director Gus Van Sant?
Yeah, acclaimed director of Jerry, Gus Van Sant. This movie's awful. This movie is awful. It proves that if you're trying to emulate a classic film, you can't just shoot it like it. You actually got to add emotion, and maybe just giving the same script to different actors that don't know how to say those lines kind of showed maybe this type of maybe this type of dialogue, like dialogue can like transition from era to era and what is good. And I'm not saying the original Psycho is bad. I think the movie's amazing, but having different actors read that same dialogue is very, very stilted. The music, just adding the Psycho music to like this modern film feels very, very jarring when you watch it. It did add one scene that was very, very uncomfortable. The scene where Norman is looking at Marion through the peephole. You just get a long scene of Vince Vaughn just looking like this, and his hand is doing something. I'm not going to do it, but he does that. And yeah, I do not like this movie. If you've seen the original Psycho, just stick there. Movie's not good.
Cody, have you seen this?
You're muted.
I am not a huge fan of the original, and I've never seen the second one, so the remake of it. So, well, maybe just Psycho isn't for me. I guess that's safe to say.
William H. Macy is okay in it. I will give it that.
I'm cammed off right now because I'm walking around refilling my beverage in my apartment. But I have not seen the remake. I've only seen the original. I like the original a lot. I think it's very, very good. It's one of the few Hitchcock movies I genuinely love. I can't get into old movies. I'm sorry. I'm a young man who likes things.
Color.
I like color and things made after 1970. You're pulling a Tim. Should I also pull a Tim? But anyway, yeah, I think that the original is obviously excellent. I've only actually seen it twice. The first time I watched it was actually with Maggie, and we had a really good time watching it. But I then got to rewatch it at the theater that I used to work at. But overall, very much enjoyed the original. Haven't seen the remake because I've only heard terrible things. So what's the point? I have the same Blu-ray as you.
Nice.
Mine has a slipcover though, so get
lucky. Yeah, that's fair. I got mine used at a a0e Records, so yeah.
No one cares.
All right, Matt, have you seen the remake?
Yeah, I mean, Gus Van Sant, he's a very interesting director. I like when he kind of experiments, and ultimately this one is a kind of a failed experiment. But I mean, any remake of Psycho was probably going to fail. But I at least like that he kind of tried to do it a little bit different than someone else probably would have. But yeah, ultimately that didn't work.
He had the balls to at least go for it. All right, Matt, your least favorite movie you love this week? Did I skip Boatman?
Did Boatman talk about it? I don't think.
No, I skipped Boatman. Boatman, have you seen the remake?
I have not seen the remake of Psycho, and I don't really plan to.
That's fair. All right, Matt, go ahead.
I wasn't even really going to review this one because I felt kind of bad, kind of coming down on it. But I watched James Wan's *Malignant* that just came out.
Oh no!
Yeah. I think I gave it about a 2.5. It's feel like this was definitely a one for him, and I don't know if I feel like he may have had too much creative control on this one, perhaps. But it's just there are some really interesting effects and some, I don't know if I want to say creature designs in it, but ultimately the dialogue is just horrible. It is incredibly predictable. All the characters make horrible decisions. So it's your average horror movie, but it just he just doesn't pull it off. Especially from James Wan, you expect something like a Saw or a Conjuring or something like that, and then you get this. So yeah, it was just disappointed by it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I'm still going to watch it because I'm a big James Wan fan. I've seen everything he's done, and I've pretty much enjoyed everything he's done. I even like Furious 7. So I think Aquaman fucking slaps. I think Saw is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's probably in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I love Saw. Awesome. The first two Conjuring movies I think are great. Dead Silence is super underrated. So yeah, I'm a big James Wan fan, so I'm going to see it. I'm going to go see it later. I was actually thinking about going to see it tonight, but I'm very sleepy, and now I got to watch Spotlight, so I'm going to do that instead. But I might check it out tomorrow. I've heard that the ending is very controversial. Like I haven't heard whether it's like a twist or what it is, but apparently there's every review I either read or watched said that there's something that happens towards the end that made everybody go,
The last 30 minutes for me is where it kind of redeemed itself. That got a kind of the 2.5 because
okay,
before
so
then it was
that's
just,
what actually made it
yeah,
better.
it gets kind of crazy at the end, but yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm still gonna watch it. I also think it's Annabelle Wallace. Is that her name?
Yeah.
I think she's very good. Even in shit movies like The Mummy, I think she's or the first Annabelle movie she's in as well. I think she's very good. So I'm looking forward to watching it still. I want to take Maggie to see it because we saw the trailer before Candyman, and Maggie went, "Oh, it looks too scary." So I want to take her to see it because I think that'll be a fun time. So, Cody, did you have any interest in checking this one out?
It just popped up on HBO Max, and I thought it was an old movie. I was like, "Was this an old horror movie they're releasing early?" I'm so out of the loop on stuff. I didn't hear anything about this movie, but it's a horror movie, and Matt gave it 2.5 stars. So you know what that means? I'm out.
Yeah.
Boatman, what about you?
I haven't seen it. I have heard it's basically James Wan trying to make a B movie, like intentionally, and I'm good.
Payson, I know you check a lot of the new stuff out. Did you see
Yeah,
this?
I haven't gotten around to this one. I'm definitely going to go see it. I've heard mixed things. I hear it is very out there. Matt, would you describe this movie to James Wan as what Mother was to Darren Aronofsky?
I hope not.
Your director
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Okay. But yeah, I've heard mixed things. I'm keeping my expectations in check, but I am
It's definitely different than all the other stuff he's done for sure.
Got it. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to go. I'm definitely going to give it a chance in theaters.
All right. Great. All right. Well, let's move on to our watch list. Movies that we added to the watch list that we want to see. So Cody is not here. Boatman, what do you got for this?
Yeah, in terms of movie I added to my watch list that I want to check out, I think I am going to go with, you know what? I mentioned it before we started the call. I want to see, spoiler alert for it later, I haven't seen Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, so that's not going to be one of my Eastwood picks. But honestly, it sounds really fun. I haven't seen it, but it's Eastwood and Jeff Bridges in a crime comedy, and that sounds really fun. Jeff Bridges got an Oscar nomination for it. I'll check it out.
Okay, I'll go next. My movie that I'm picking, I never thought in a million years I would say this, but this movie was recommended by my mother-in-law, and I didn't even know it existed. It came out on Netflix, apparently, I guess, relatively recently. I've never heard of it, but it's a movie starring Michael Keaton, Stanley Tucci, and Amy Ryan. It's called Worth, and I don't even know anything about it other than that it has to revolve around 9/11. And that was why my in-laws watched it this last week. They both liked it. I don't know how it did critically. I don't know if it's actually supposed to be good or not. I just saw it pop up because I think Lucas might have watched it. Yes, Lucas did. He gave it a 3.5. So I added it to the watch list because of that and my in-laws having spoken about it. So I want to check it out. I think they said it was on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like we said earlier, I love Keaton. I love Tooch. So I'm game. I'm going to check it out. And I like dramas when they're based in real life situations. Obviously it's a very sensitive subject, but I'm very interested in those types of subjects. So I am looking forward to watching this. Who knows when I'll get there, but it's now in the watch list. Cody, what about you?
Well, I think I'm going to add the same movie that you just added. It sounds interesting enough. And I'm going to add Coda, obviously. I mean, I have Apple. Might as well use it. I don't think I've ever watched one. And they just had the Apple announcement. They released a ton of movies that are coming to it. So, like, Apple Plus is supposed to be a new Tom Hanks movie coming out soon. So, yeah.
That last Tom Hanks movie they released was shit. So
he's with a robot, so I'm not.
Greyhound, is that what it was? Oh, the robot one is coming to Apple?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I did hear about that. Nice. Okay, Payson, what about you?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I usually don't like to talk about movies that are coming out, but I'll talk about this one. Licorice Pizza just got titled. It's the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I'm so flippin' pumped. Just hearing this log line, it's set in San Fernando Valley in the 1970s, and it follows a high school student that is also a child star. I want this movie to get dark. I want this movie to get depressing. I want this movie to just feel like a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I'm so excited, and the thing I'm most excited about, it's coming out a week before my birthday, so I'm going to go and see this movie on my birthday, which means I'm seeing a movie directed by Paul Thomas Anderson on my birthday.
Wow, you're not a real fan. You don't see it right when it comes out. Way to go.
I know.
Oh, also, I want to add one more to the list because of something else. I got a sneak peek at Del Toro's new movie, which I actually need to talk to Cody about. Nightmare Alley. I got to see the trailer today. This shit looks amazing. Shape of Water was was my favorite movie of the year. It's gone down on rewatch, but I still love it. Del Toro's fucking great, and Nightmare Alley looks stupid good. When this trailer drops in a couple days, whenever it does, guys, I think people are going to be really excited. Bradley Cooper looks great in it. Matt, what did you add?
I actually just added Supernova not too long ago, but I just want to throw a recommendation out to everyone. We just lost Norm Macdonald today, so if you haven't seen Dirty Work, add that to your watch list.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Great. Okay, we're gonna move on to the main part of the show. It sounds like it's gonna be a lot of movies we haven't. So I'm gonna start us off. Clint Eastwood. We're gonna make our top 10 list for Clint Eastwood. My first movie. I don't think anybody else was gonna say this one. If Cody was, no, I know Cody was, and I know what he's gonna pick. Mine is one of his more recent ones, I believe, before, because his movie, what's it called, coming out this weekend? Cry Macho. It was the last one that he directed and starred in, I believe, The Mule. I think this movie's really underrated. It came out right after A Star Is Born. So the Bradley Cooper train was like really hype, but like nobody talked about this movie. And it's Clint Eastwood getting into being a drug mule. And Bradley Cooper is the person trying to take him down. I think it's really fun. This was one of those movies I wasn't expecting to be anything, and I wound up really enjoying it. It's I thought it was really, really good. I haven't seen it since it came out, but it was just one of those movies that caught me completely by surprise. It was like, it was how many years in a row? He went from like 2011 or 2010 or something, like every year released a movie, and I think the same year he released 1517 to Paris, which is one of the worst movies ever made. Sorry, Clint. So I had like no expectations going into it, and it was really good. I thought it was really surprising. I also just love Bradley Cooper in anything. So if you haven't seen The Mule, and I don't think a lot of people have, I'd recommend it. There's also a scene where Clint Eastwood, a 90-year-old man, 92-year-old man hooks up with a very, very sexy lady, and it's very funny. They play it for laughs, and it's really well done. It's very funny. I like this movie. Has anybody else seen this, Cody?
I have not. I want to though, but I haven't. Normally these kind of off things, I wait for you just to buy the Blu-ray. This one never came to your voodoo, so
it'll get there eventually.
It's not I'm not seeking it, so yeah.
Yeah, it'll get there eventually.
Did not see it.
Okay, Payson?
I have seen it. I think this is a good movie. Not necessarily a great movie. I think it's a really cool idea of like what it feels like to get old, and like Clint Eastwood is perfect for that. But yeah, just like Tim says, this is a movie where a 90-year-old man has 2 3-ways. Count them, 2 3-ways, and that is a very funny concept for a 90-year-old man. So yes, that does need to be said.
Get busy living or get busy dying.
Or
Matt,
just get busy.
Did you
That
see
might be
this,
why you
Matt?
picked to make this one. Yeah, I saw this one. It was all right. It's got some really interesting actors just kind of popping up for like a scene or two. It's got Lawrence Fishburne in it, and Michael Pena. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
All right. Cody, we will go to you next. I wonder what you're gonna pick.
It's crazy.
Which
His
one will you
best
pick
directed
first?
work. His
Oh,
best
okay.
directed work by far. I'm going Mystic River. It's his best work.
That's
I think
2003, right?
2003.
Yes. So there's stories of Clint Eastwood that have come out recently, like Boatman kind of let me know this about how he's the one-shot guy. Like, he's like, we're going to do things one. Like, there's not much. Like, let's move stuff around. And, like, I watched an interview with him and Matt Damon when he did Invictus with him, and he goes, Clint, I don't think I did that right. He goes, you want to waste everybody's fucking time? No, it's good. It was good. All right, let's roll. Like, he wouldn't let him do it again. He just made terrible at himself. But this movie is just, it's crime element. The last 30 minutes makes my stomach drop every time I watch it. I texted him to watch this. He told me, Cody, I don't think I'm going to make it through this last 30 minutes. I just think, like, Tim Robbins, I think Sean Penn definitely deserved the Oscar for this performance. Shut your fucking whore mouth, Payson.
Johnny Depp, come on.
No, I think Payson's saying somebody else, but
Bill Murray.
Overall,
Bill Murray.
no, absolutely not. Wrong. That movie's boring as shit. Yeah, absolutely. This movie has so many twists and turns. You think it's going one way and it completely goes somewhere else, and like the end of it, that last scene between Bacon and Penn is just so incredible. Just like. So if you haven't seen it, this is the movie. If anybody asks me for a recommendation, you haven't seen a movie, Mystic River is the one I throw out all the time, because I think if you like crime and you like thrillers kind of thing, it has so much. It takes you for an entire ride the entire way. So
yeah, when this had been in my watch list on Netflix for a really long time. And then I think it left Netflix and it showed up on HBO, and Cody was like, dude, I've watched it twice in a month. You gotta watch it. It's fucking great. Just watch it. And this was during quarantine when I watched like 12 movies a day. So I sat down, I watched it, and I loved it. It was an immediate on first watch, 5 out of 5 stars. If I had to nitpick something, I wish the movie would have ended on the scene with Bacon and Penn in the road after the big climactic thing that happens and you realize what actually is like. I wish it would have ended there. That being said, the 10 minutes that follow are still very good. Then I enjoy it. But I wish it would have ended there. This also came back to me very randomly recently. I was either at work or at band practice or something, and Maggie calls me or texted me and was like, "Hey, I'm going to bed. I just finished a movie, but I'll see you tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh, what movie? What movie did you watch?" Mystic River. And I'm like, you just randomly turned on. Well, you and Cody said it was good, so I watched it. It's excellent, 5 stars. And I was like, oh yes, Maggie, okay. But yeah, the movie's excellent. I think Tim Robbins is the standout. I think he's so good in the movie. He was nominated for it, right? But he won. He did win. He
won, yes.
Okay. So.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if he won or not. I knew Penn had won.
Is that my daughter?
But yeah, no, it's great fucking movie. As Mike Hanley would say. Boatman.
Yeah, Mystic River's real good. I've only seen it the one time, but the cast is great, and the kind of turns the story takes do hit you. I think Penn is good. He's not my pick, but I get it. That is that my daughter in there scene. It's one of those things where it almost goes a little too over the top, but then it comes back around to being heartbreaking.
Have you ever lost your daughter, Boatman?
I'm saying it's not over the top. It almost goes a little
okay.
Let me actually say my words. It almost goes a little too over the top, but then comes back around again to actually be sincere, is what I was trying to say. Tim Robbins, though, to me, is the stand-up performance. The other great performance in the movie I really like, even though it's one scene cameo and he's not even credited in the movie, is Eli Wallach. Eli Wallach as the convenience store owner. It's one scene, but he's really good in that one scene. I think it's not my favorite movie Eastwood directed, but it's one of his top directorial works.
Also, we brought him up earlier. Lawrence Fishburne's also really good in the movie. Payson, I saw that you logged this for the first time recently, right?
Yeah, I watched this movie for the first time this year, and just like what everyone here said, this is a really, really good movie. Very hard movie to get through at points just because of how dark it gets and how emotional, but I think at the end, I think it is a very worthwhile experience. I think Boston is one of the coolest places to set movies, mainly because I just think, like, one, you hear about the city of Boston. It's one of the more homegrown cities in, like, America, where the people there feel like that is their city. And two, just, like, you can get really grimy and really, like, wet with Boston, if that makes sense. And I think that's really cool. Tim Robbins is excellent. His character is so heartbreaking, like, what he goes through, just the stuff that happens with him as a child, how that messes with him as an adult. I think Marcia Gay Harden is really, really underrated. She's such, like, you feel so bad for Tim Robbins because of how she treats him and just everything he doesn't want to do wrong, but she just judges every little thing. Yeah, like they alluded to, I'm not the person. I've seen 8 of the Best Actor wins of the 2000s. Sean Penn in this one's probably my least favorite. I think he does get a little too over the top at certain points, and you can see how hard he is going for the Oscar. Not the most over the top he's ever gone for an Oscar. That's definitely I Am Sam, which I think we can all agree is woof. But,
Sean Penn, 2001, I Am Sam.
Oh boy. But no, overall, I think this movie really, really works. And I think the score is beautiful. I believe Clint Eastwood scored this movie himself.
What?
Did he not? I could be smoking.
Is that something he does that I didn't know he did?
No, he does. He does do that, and I believe this was the first one he did it for. But yeah,
that's fucking cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know Clint Eastwood scored some of his movies. That's
him and John Carpenter.
He only does it with one take too.
Yeah, makes sense. Hey, Clint, you played the wrong note there. Hey, fuck it. Matt, what about you?
Oh yeah, this is probably one of the 3 or 4 films I was prepared to talk about tonight. Yeah, I mean, everyone else has pretty much already said the cast is fantastic. It's a really good film. It's got some really interesting elements to it. I really like. Just one of my favorite parts is just like Sean Penn's his little goons, the little brothers that he's got that just run around and stuff. I really like those guys, and it. Yeah, actually, in the school, the year this came out, we had for English class, we did like a newspaper. And I wrote like a movie review for this. So that I wish I could find that and put that on the letterbox now. But yeah, great movie, great cast, everything perfect.
Too bad that only one movie in 2003 was one of the greatest movies of all time and had to beat this for everything. So it's too bad. It's too bad, Mystic River.
Deserving Best Picture win from Return of the King.
Boatman, who did you want to win that year?
For actor or for picture?
No, for cinematography. Yes, the one you were talking about earlier.
For actor. Okay, you went back to pictures. So I didn't
No. I'm sorry. Go
actor
ahead.
Bill Murray.
I agree.
Is that lost in translation?
Yeah.
Bill Murray. Actually, I go back and forth between Bill Murray and Ben Kingsley in House of Sand and Fog.
I've heard that's really good.
Ben Kingsley is incredible in that movie.
Yeah. I've heard that movie is very good. Okay, Boatman.
Only one person had their daughter in some place.
Boatman, what's your first pick?
My first pick is one of his westerns that he acted and directed. I'm going with 1976's The Outlaw Josie Wales. This is one that isn't super well seen, but I think this film is. What?
I looked over at Matt and I was just like, "Well, damn." There's one.
Wait, was that one of yours, Matt?
No, I just couldn't. No, I haven't seen it, so go ahead.
Okay, yeah. No, that's why I took it because I figured I wouldn't be stepping on anyone's toes. This movie's really good. It's basically Eastwood doing like a revenge film, but like it's a very lighthearted revenge film essentially. Eastwood's family is killed, and he basically kind of comes back, and to kill the people who killed his family. But on the way, he finds other people who are escaping from the people who killed his family, and he kind of forms his own family within that. I always kind of love the found family trope. Eastwood is really good in this. He's doing something a little more comedic than he is in, say, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly or the entire Man with No Name trilogy. But it never goes silly. But there's this gag where he kind of just spits on the guy's shoes every time somebody like gets up in his face. And Eastwood plays it right. It is definitely like the most like relaxed revenge thriller you'll see, and I really like it.
I have not seen this one. Shocker to everybody. I am not the biggest Westerns fan. The ones that I've seen, I've enjoyed for the most part, but I haven't really dove into Westerns yet. I'm sure I'll get there eventually in my life because, you know, I'm a young boy and I like movies, so I'm gonna get there eventually. Payson, have you seen this?
I have not. I have heard of this movie. I could say something about this movie in regards to another trivia show, but I think Cody might literally slit my throat, so I'm not going to. But it sounds good, so I'm going to watch it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Matt, go ahead.
Unfortunately, I have not seen this one yet. I do love the poster, though.
It is a cool poster.
Is that the one where he just looks really angry?
He's got the two guns.
Yeah.
All right. Payson, what is your first pick?
Speaking of another revenge Western directed by Clint Eastwood, I get to take Unforgiven. Yeah. Unforgiven, just what an incredible film. One of my favorite Westerns of all time. The last Western that Clint Eastwood directed for a little while, even though Cry Macho looks like it could be like a Neo-style Western.
Yeah.
Unforgiven, like some people may know, it's about an aged outlaw who decided to go and start a family. He is hired by a group of prostitutes who want to hunt down this guy that attacked them. And so he gets his friend, played by Morgan Freeman, and they just go on a journey. I think this movie is just an incredible film. We talked earlier about The Mule, about a movie about getting old. I think that Unforgiven is another movie that really tackles that theme incredibly, incredibly well. The direction, the way how Clint Eastwood directs this movie, I think is amazing. I think this was a deserving Best Picture of 1992, one of my personal favorite. Like, I wouldn't say top 10 Best Picture winners of all time, probably top 20. I think this movie is excellent. I think Gene Hackman is so good as the villain of the Sheriff Little Bill, just this corrupt lawman that, like, you see that we're going towards a world where we want the law to be more focused, but we don't want someone like Little Bill in power. No, I think this movie is incredible. I think the journey that William Money goes on is excellent. This was a passion project for Clint Eastwood. He bought the rights to the book in, I want to say, the late 70s, realized he wasn't old enough to play the part, and sat on it for 15 years in order to play that part. But yeah, I think this movie is one of those films that completely lives up to its reputation as being just amazing.
Yeah, I've only seen this movie once. I watched it. I had a weird stretch in like the late 2010s, like in like 2016, 2017, where all I did was watch I would go on Amazon and just go to like the $5 movie thing on Amazon and just buy as many movies as possible. And this was one that I happened to get for $5 on Blu-ray, and I watched it and I very much enjoyed it. Like I said, Westerns are hit or miss with me, but this one I liked. I didn't love it as much as everybody else seems to love it, but I think this is one of those where if you've seen all of his Westerns, this is kind of like his magnum opus after all that stuff. So I'm sure if I like went back to it now or after watching some of his older stuff, I might like it more. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. I agree Gene Hackman was the standout. But yeah, really good. Bowman.
Yeah, Unforgiven is my favorite of the movies Eastwood has directed. I think this is his best work. Just the messy morality of this movie, I think, is usually the best thing about it, because you've got this. Look, it's basically about bad people doing good things and good people doing bad things, and I think that's really complicated, and it's messier than the typical Western, but still feels like a true classic Western. Richard Harris as English Bob
might be the best Richard Harris performance I've ever seen.
Yeah, he is so good in this movie. The whole movie is great. Gene Hackman, fantastic. I get why he won the Oscar. I go back and forth because that's one of the best supporting actor years of all time. But I get why he won. Yeah, fantastic film. The thing about killing a man, you take away everything he's got and everything he's going to have. I probably butchered that quote, but
you're good. You're good. Sentiment exists. You're a trivia god. You can make mistakes.
I don't like it when you call me there.
That was great. Oh man, you're a trivia god. You can make mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't like it when he calls me that.
Woof.
That is not the first time he's called me that, and it makes me
Matt, Unforgiven. What's your take?
Oh yeah, awesome. I mean, this is definitely another one of the ones that I would have talked about had I gone sooner. But yeah, I really love I love the story that Payson talked about, where he found the story when he was younger and waited until he was actually to the right age, kind of grew into it. Yeah, I kind of like his older westerns maybe kind of romanticize the Wild West or kind of glorify some of the stories, but this is more kind of like a realistic take on it. It kind of shows it was just dirty, mean people. And I really like the writer in the movie, the guy who's following around. Yep. I literally loved him. I kind of like to think that his character kind of would interpret the events and kind of romanticize it, then it would become like one of those westerns from the early days. But yeah, great performances all around, great stories. Yeah.
All right, Matt, you get to go next. What's your first pick?
I pretty much agreed to be on the show just so I can make sure that this movie get on the list, and that's going to be 1517 to it's going to be A Perfect World.
I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, this is definitely honestly, I think this is probably the first Clint Eastwood film I ever saw. Probably was maybe like 10 or 11, and that's probably why it had the impact on me that it did. It's pretty much Kevin Costner's an escaped convict, and he ends up taking a kid hostage and kind of almost becoming like a father figure to him, while Clint Eastwood is a U.S. Marshal chasing him down. He's got Laura Dern in there as kind of like a psychoanalysis person, kind of trying to show him new law techniques, and you got Bradley Whitford in there just playing a dick, which is always fun.
Oh,
but yeah, this one really kind of spoke to me, just kind of the relationship between Costner's character and the kid, and kind of as they're on the run, and he's kind of showing him a little bit of life, and kind of he's kind of getting to revisit he had the bad childhood with his father, so he kind of gets a chance to do it right a little bit. I honestly think this might be one of Costner's best performances. But I just really love this one. So, Perfect World.
All right. I haven't seen it. I haven't even heard of it. But that pitch, I am sold. That sounds great. That sounds like something I'd be very interested in. So I will add it to the watch list. Boatman, have you seen this?
I have. I think this movie's good. I didn't love it. I'm not the biggest Costner guy, and I think at the end of the day, that's just what hurts the movie so much. Is I just don't really like Kevin Costner. But I think the stuff with Eastwood and Laura Dern and Bradley Whitford is very fun. All that stuff with them, like the RV basically. That scene is great. I'm just not as big on the stuff with Costner. I think to make that character interesting, you have to have someone who's a little bit more charming. And I just don't think Costner plays charming very well, or human very well, or emotion, or anything other than constipated.
Wow, didn't know you. I did not know you had this hate for Kevin Costner.
Leave your Man of Steel slander out of it. I'm kidding. That movie's just fine.
The one performance I'll give you is Untouchables. He's good in Untouchables.
I
Yes,
like Dances with Wolves. I don't.
That movie should have beat it for Best Picture, but that's a story for a different
well, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner robbed Scorsese of a Best Director. Can't even do an English accent as Robin Hood. What are we doing?
I have not seen this movie. It sounds super interesting. Matt, if you don't mind me asking, I thought you were around like 27, 28.
Oh, I'm 36.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was off.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sounds like a super interesting movie.
All right, I'm gonna go next. I'm really excited to talk about this one. I honestly forgot that Clint Eastwood directed this movie. It's a 2016 film. It's called The Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds stars as a Marvel superhero with a couple of blades, and he kills a bunch of people. It's very funny, very self-referential. They break the fourth wall a lot. It's really fun. It's one of my favorite fandom movies. Deadpool. What's so funny about it? Oh! Oh shit! That's Deadpool.
You're thinking of the Harry.
My bad. I'm glad I got Boatman with that. I am actually picking because again, I haven't seen a ton of these movies, and I know there's other movies that other people will bring up. So I'm going to go for the one that's probably not like his greatest work ever made, but one that I enjoyed way more than I anticipated, like The Mule. And it was actually the movie he made in 2016. It's Sully. I thought Sully was really good. It's like 95 minutes, very quick. You got Tom Hanks in the lead role, who's excellent. The way they take the actual flight and crash and like lace it through the entire movie with the like trial stuff, I think is really, really interesting. I think Aaron Eckhart is super good in this movie, like very underrated. The only thing I honestly hated about this movie was I work at a movie theater and we would have old people come in and say 2 for Scully, and I'd be like, no, that's not the name of the film. Stop it. That happened all the time. But I thought this was really good.
Scully back there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, shout out to another trivia god, Thomas Scully.
Stop saying that.
Don't do that.
Thanks, my friends.
Don't do that. It doesn't. Okay. No.
As your friend, it makes me uncomfortable when you.
But I think this movie's really, really good. I think, like I said, Tom Hanks is great. Also, Cody's not here anymore. He had to leave. But there is something about this movie that I love, so he won't be able to do a shot. The 4K of this movie. This was one of the first movies to be shot entirely in 4K, in native 4K. So the 4K Blu-ray is one of the best looking 4K movies you can watch. So Nazario Montenegro, we've been messaging about 4K TVs and Blu-rays. If you're interested, pick this one up because the 4K is gorgeous. Boatman, did you see this?
No, I didn't see Sully. I saw one of the geese that was in the movie. Shout out to them. We got an autograph.
It's rough. Payson.
Yeah, I have seen this. Let it be known that Tim cannot get enough of movies or just things that have a character named Sully in it. This, Monsters, Inc. I'm not sure your opinion on the Uncharted series, but that's there as well.
What about Avatar?
Nice. Avatar, yes.
Jake Sully.
But yeah, I think this is a good movie. A nice story of heroism of a man that landed a plane. Tom Hanks is very good. I find it very interesting when you look up real life stuff is that this really wasn't that big of a scandal as the movie made it out to be. Like, this movie made it like, whoa, dude, you cost us so much money. How dare you do that? And like in real life, it was like, yeah, you save the people. It's fine. But yeah, this sort of started the trend that he also did the 1517 to Paris, where he based an entire movie off of 5 minutes in history. But it worked a lot better here, mainly because they're actual actors in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. I do enjoy this one.
Matt, did you see this one?
Oh, yeah. I thought it was pretty good. I'm glad you gave Aaron Eckhart a shout out because I would have done that. I thought he was really good in it. I haven't really ever gone back to rewatch it. I think if I ever get the feeling to rewatch this, I'd just go watch Flight instead, and that would kind of just scratch that itch.
That's fair.
Oh, that's very good.
Flight's really good. Yeah. All right. Boatman, your next pick.
Okay, well, Cody's no longer here, and I thought I was like, okay, Cody would take this movie.
He's go.
What?
Go ahead.
Good, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Nice.
Oh, that's not what he's going to take.
Oh, fair. Then I would have had to take it anyway.
Go ahead.
Because Matt gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd, and I didn't know if Mason was going to take it or not, so I didn't want to risk it not being on the list. So, Good, Bad, and the Ugly is one of the greatest westerns of all time. The dynamics between the 3 characters, like the way I love when Blondie and Tuco are like working together, but then they're also like crossing each other at the same time. And Angel Eyes is just one of the like really underrated villains. Like just the first time he shows up and he kills that kid. Like all of the introductions in this movie are awesome. That shootout is like the famous scene like in the movie, and it's one of the great shootouts of all time. But there are just so many little dynamics with the characters. Honestly, talking about it, I want to get this movie rewatched. I want to rewatch the whole No Name trilogy. For a few dollars more is really underrated, and more people need to watch that one. That one's really fun. But the Ugly is
So I haven't seen this. What I have seen is The Good, the Bad, and the Silly, the VeggieTales spinoff.
It's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Ah, damn it. That was close. That being said, this is the 3rd in the trilogy, correct? Do I need to see the first 2 to understand?
There is no connection. It was basically done as a marketing tool to put them together. Like those characters are basically 3 different people.
He doesn't play the same character in all 3?
They are given 3 different names. That's why they call him the man with no name. It's like it has been marketed.
The outfit appears.
But really, you can watch them in any order.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
go ahead and start.
No, it's one that I've wanted to see. I will watch it eventually. I just haven't gotten there. But I've heard nothing but good things. So
like multiple people show up as different characters in like Lee Van Cleef plays a different character in For a Few Dollars More and The Ugly.
Okay.
Like yeah.
So it's more like a Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah, it's basically like the Cornetto trilogy.
Okay, cool. Payson.
Amazing movie. It's been a while since I've seen this. I think I saw this back in high school. I really do owe it a rewatch. I love the visual storytelling of this one. Like this is a movie where you can turn off the volume and you can still get just as much of the story just because of how much of it is told through visuals and like imagery. I love the backdrop of it being the Civil War. I think it doesn't take away from the story, but also adds like a little historical context. And yeah, the introduction of Eli Wallach's Tuco is one of my favorite character introductions of all time. He literally just bursts through a bar door. You see him in a shootout, and then just the title thing comes up saying The Ugly, and it's like perfect.
Matt, you don't like this movie?
I mean, I might have been a little bit harsh on it, but I was just going to say that if you turn the volume down, you're going to miss the Eddie Marconi score, which is one of the all-time greatest.
Don't turn the volume down.
But yeah, I mean, this is for me. This one, there's like a middle section that kind of drags a little bit for me, but I love the beginning where it introduces all the characters, and the climax at the end is probably one of the all-time greatest climaxes. So yeah.
So which one does Clint Eastwood play? The Good, the Bad, or the Ugly?
He plays the good.
He is the good. Even though there's a certain promo where Eastwood is referred to as the ugly, which is incorrect.
I forgot that existed until you just said it at this moment.
Which promo was this?
I'll tell you later.
We'll talk about it off call. Okay, Payson.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit more recent one. This was one of the first and only movies I saw in 2020. It was released in 2019. I'm taking Richard Jewell. Richard Jewell, I really, really enjoy this movie. Talking about the scandal that happened, or the incident that happened at the 1996 American Olympics. I want to say it was Atlanta, but I'm not entirely sure if that's where it took place. Obviously, there was a bombing that happened there. A security guard by the name of Richard Jewell stopped it, and some people think that he may have planned it. I think this is a really great procedural movie that just goes through the whole incident of people thinking this guy was like a villain. I think the cast is excellent. Paul Walter Hauser is great as the title character. I think Sam Rockwell steals every single scene he's in. I won't talk about him too much because I know one Sam Rockwell shill will probably like to talk about him. Kathy Bates is excellent as Richard Jewell's mom. I know some people had some issues with the way Olivia Wilde's character was portrayed. I would defend that by saying you hear stories that stuff like that has happened, so I don't think it's the most dishonest. I do understand the character, the real life person she portrays is dead, so she can't defend herself, so that's probably not the best idea, but that is the one defense I would make. But no, I think Richard Jewell is a really, really good movie.
Yeah, I forgot that this movie existed. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh.
But not in a way that like,
Yeah.
oh, it was so bad I forgot it. I own this movie. It's somewhere on that shelf, and I liked it a lot. Maggie and I saw this on Christmas Eve, I believe, in 2019. We had to save Christmas Day for Little Women. Scott Harvey, if you're still watching, that's what we saw on Christmas Day was Little Women.
That was one of the first movies I watched in 2020.
Yeah, we watched Christmas Eve on Christmas Eve. We watched Richard Jewell, and I really enjoyed it. Again, like I said earlier, any movie based in real life, with like real life drama, where you can go back and kind of compare it to the real story. Like I like doing that. I like seeing a movie and then getting really interested about the story and going back and then learning what actually happened, how true was it, and everything. And this was no exception. Paul Walter Hauser, very good. Sam Rockwell, I agree, steals the movie. Kathy Bates is really good in it. John Hamm's very good in it. Yeah, I really liked this movie a lot, and I kind of forgot about it. I've seen it twice now because I watched it on Blu-ray when I bought it. But yeah, definitely one that if you haven't seen, I think it flew under the radar for a lot of people. Really liked it. So, Boatman.
To me, Richard Jewell is like at its best when it is Paul Walter Hauser and Sam Rockwell interacting with each other, because they have this insane amount of like fun back and forth chemistry that really works. There's a great scene where Richard Jewell has cooperated with the FBI, and Sam Rockwell is basically admonishing Jewell for his honesty, and it's a really great back and forth. It really just made me realize what I really want is a buddy cop movie starring Sam Rockwell and Walter Hauser. How awesome would that be? I really want that. Movie itself, I found just to be okay, but their dynamic is what I really like.
Matt, your take on Richard Jewell?
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's probably better than it's got any right to be. But I mean, one thing about Clint Eastwood, he can really assemble a great bunch of actors to be in his movies, and this one has got a fantastic cast. It's pretty deep too. John Hamm, you mentioned he's got a little role. He plays a dick, which he's good at that. So it's pretty solid. But yeah, good pick.
I'm gonna quickly read something for you guys. Not this. Calm down. I'm going to read you a review. There are two lawyers that we know of in this community. There's my wife, Margaret Bercala, and then there's Scott Harvey. Now I'm going to read a review for Richard Jewell. You tell me which one of them wrote this review. It is a 4-star review, and the review reads, "That's some darn good lawyering right there." Which one was it? Boatman?
I'm going to say that was Meg.
Payson.
I'll go Scott.
Maggie, I need you to kill this spider that's crawling down in front of me. And Matt.
I'm also going to go with Maggie on that one.
It was Maggie.
Hey!
And Maggie's also about to come kill a spider that's literally on a web right in front of me. She got it.
Is the spider your brother-in-law and her brother?
I swear to God, Payson.
I will go drown.
Yeah, so anyway, it was Maggie who said that. Who is next? Matt, you are next, I believe.
Oh, let's see what we got left here. I'll give Gran Torino some love.
That was 2008, right?
Yep. 2008. Yeah. This is one. I think it had been. I want to say it'd been a little bit since he'd acted when he did this one. So this was a good little comeback role for him. Actually, no, it wasn't.
4 years, I believe.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I think that this was a really good performance from him. It's just a kind of a little simple story. I really like the family dynamics where you kind of get to see how he interacts with his family, where versus he kind of gets to be with the family that kind of almost takes him in there, and kind of his relationship with the young boy that he's helping out, trying to give him lessons in being a man and that sort of thing. I think masculinity is often a theme in Eastwood's films, kind of dissecting it and the good and the bad of it. But yeah, overall, I thought this was, as far as his later movies go, I think this is definitely one of the stronger ones. And I noticed that he definitely did the score of this one. I know he sings the song and the closing credits of it. So yeah,
I vaguely remember.
Yeah.
I saw this last year. I bought it on Blu-ray and watched it with Maggie. We had never seen it. And I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. This was the first time that I obviously knew Scott Eastwood was his son, but this was one of the first times where I realized, like, oh, look, it's Scott Eastwood in a Clint Eastwood film. And that's weird. And I don't know how I feel about this. But I enjoyed it. This movie had been not even hyped in like a, oh my God, it's so good. I had heard a lot of really, really good things, but then I had also heard a lot of, oh, well, this movie is it's ridiculous. It's so over the top. I didn't feel that way. I thought the ending was super good. I was really surprised by the ending. It went in a way that I wasn't expecting, and it kind of blew me away. So I will rewatch it. But again, I watched it within the last year, I would say. So I'm looking forward to watching it again eventually, but not quite there yet. I'm trying to find out when I watched it, but I'll get there. Boatman, Gran Torino, have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I really like Gran Torino. I have no idea if this movie holds up or not, or if the fact that it doesn't hold up is the point. I don't know. I'm not even going to touch that. I just think the dynamic between Eastwood and the main kid is actually like really engaging. It's really just about a very broken man who is able to find something to care about again. And I do really like that. The get off my lawn scene is awesome.
Sorry, I was talking to Maggie. Payson, your take.
Yeah. Is this the first time that Clint Eastwood did the whole thing of like casting non-actors in these roles?
No idea.
No? Okay. Yeah,
I
think so.
Okay.
Unless, I don't know if he did it with like letters from Iwo Jima or not.
That's fair.
Might have.
Yeah. I have yet to see this one. It's always sounded interesting. I've heard there's some uncomfortable things to it, but it's a movie I do want to check out.
Yeah. Okay, so we have one spot left on the list. Cody's not here anymore to give us said number. I know what he was going to pick. Would we like to do that to give him his choice?
Yeah.
Or does somebody else have something?
I would be down for that. There's a very clear omission, and I'd be very interested to see if that's the one.
I'll let Cody, because I would assume Cody's going to take the big one. So I'll do it. I